Since we're in Leo season now, I thought that it would be fun to do a little makeup look that was sort of Leo inspired. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today. Again, I'm going to start with primer. I'm going to use the 100% Pure primer on my face, and then I'm using the Notoriously Morbid Shadow Bind for my eyes. If you decide to give it a try, then feel free to use my little affiliate code, which is PUNK15. And a little bit really goes a long way with this. I'm just giving that like a few seconds to, like, I don't know, set, dry a little bit so it's not like pure liquid on my face, so that when I apply the eyeshadow there's like more of a tacky base as opposed to a liquid base. I'm doing the 100% Pure concealer. I'm going to put it on my under eyes and these other areas that during my recent Shark Week my skin started to freak out a little bit. I've been learning more about astrology lately, and it's really interesting because, oh, I forgot to put the under eye. It's really interesting because I'm like, my sun sign is Gemini, which for those of you who don't know, if you just Google like what your sign is and then you go based off of like the month you were born in, that is your sun sign. And so there's actually a lot more than just your sun sign, like websites you can go to where you get your full birth chart done for free, like you don't have to pay anything. And then it tells you like your sun, your moon, your rising, your all the different placements. And when I did that, then I got more into it because I looked at my birth chart and I was like, now it makes sense. Because my sun sign is a Gemini, but I would look at like Gemini things and I'd be like, kind of, I guess. Like, you know, I do have ADHD, but a lot of the other aspects of Gemini, I was like, that's not really, it's not really me. But when I saw my whole like birth chart, what jumped out to me is that I have a lot of Cancer placements and also a lot of Capricorn placements. Specifically, I'm Cancer moon and Capricorn rising. I read the descriptions for those, and then when I would go to like the different like astrology meme accounts that I follow on Instagram, I would read the memes about like Cancers and Capricorns, and I'd be like, oh, there you go, that's my personality. Those two together. Much more than a lot of the sort of Gemini memes. Anyone who's into makeup at all is gonna hate me for what I'm about to show you, and that's fine. This is the Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity, I don't know why that's so hard for me to say, palette, and I massacred it, as I will show you in a minute. Because the thing with Pat McGrath, her shimmers are very hit and miss, honestly. There are some shimmers that are stunning and gorgeous and I'm completely in love with. And then there are others that are just like dry and scratchy and you can like barely get any payoff. Her mattes are like not particularly noteworthy, and I don't even wear mattes, but like her formulas are just hit or miss. A lot of the shimmers in this palette, I had indie shadows, like indie singles that were kind of similar color scheme, but way better, much better formulas. And so the reason that the paper is torn is because I like pried out so many of the original shades that it just like destroyed the paper, so it turned into this. But I don't mind it. I think it's kind of cool looking. Like I don't hate it, but I know I'm crazy. So as you can see, I relabeled them because like obviously you can kind of you can see the little like box that I have my iPad propped up on. I went with a sort of iconic female character theme here. I went with a lot of She-Ra characters because I'm gay, so I love the new She-Ra. This shade up here is called Entrapta, this purple shade. I'm going to use that on the outer corners, and then this like pink called Scorpia. I'm going to use that more in the center of the lid. This shade is called She-Ra, and this one I'm going to use on kind of like the inner corner, like, or the, not inner corner, but like the inner half of the lid. This shade, which I called Holtz, after Jillian Holtzman. And I have an entire Holtzman palette. We'll get to that in a later video. This shade here, I'm going to use on the inner corners. I have one of the Pat McGrath like little mini palettes that had a gold, I think it's the Subversive palette. It's the more colorful one, and it has a gold, like a really nice gold, and I might add that to the inner corner as well. But the reason I chose these colors is because I thought that purples and golds were very royal colors, and when I think of Leos, I think of very royal, just royal vibes, you know? The way that I like to do makeup is I like to, whatever the range of colors are that I'm going to be using, I will put the darkest shade in the outer corner, and then I'll kind of work my way in towards the lightest and brightest color and have that be the inner corners. And I find that that approach has the look that I want my makeup to have. Now we're gonna switch to that red. It's like a pink red shade. So I could just do purple and gold, but I wanted to give the purple some brightness. I just wanted a like brighter vibe, you know? I personally really like the Leo energy. My sister's a Leo sun. What I've noticed is that, you know, Leos present as very confident and charismatic and charming. It's kind of what they're known for. What I've learned is that they're also very sensitive. And I think they're much more sensitive than is expected of them because they are really good at projecting such confidence. They're like natural leaders, right? So they're really good at just seeming like they are confident in exactly what they're doing and just doing the thing. I think what goes along with the charisma that they have is an acute awareness of what other people might be thinking about them and how other people might be seeing them. I find that people with strong Leo influence in their charts tend to kind of always have an awareness, and they won't necessarily show that they're aware and being affected by how they think they're being perceived, but it really does affect them. And so they come across as really confident. And when you see someone who's really confident, you just kind of naturally assume that they don't care what other people think of them. And I think for other, like some other confident signs, I think that is true. Like in my experience, Capricorns truly are that way. We're that mountain goat, just like going up the mountain and just like, we don't care if anyone else is on that mountain with us or not, or what mountain we don't care. We're just like, this is my mountain that I'm gonna make it to the top of. That's it. Versus the Leo confidence is more sensitive. And I think I may be wrong about this. I may be wrong about all of this. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just chatting as I go, as I do my makeup. But I think that Leos do have this desire to lead. Like, they make good leaders and they have a desire to be a good leader. And I think that anyone who like truly has a desire to be a good leader of others naturally has almost like a hyper awareness of how they're being perceived. At this point, I'm just going to go back and forth between Scorpia and Shira and just kind of blend in the center. So yeah, I think that's one of the signs of a good leader is someone who's unwavering in their values and their convictions, but to a certain level is always questioning their own methods. Like, okay, well, this is what I think should be done, but could I be doing this better? There's kind of an innate openness to what other people think and how other people perceive you. My point is that I think Leos are naturally very sensitive to how they're being perceived. Like, they're much more sensitive to like how other people respond to them. It really affects them. Like, it really affects how they feel about themselves. It like impacts their like whole day. Because they can have such a blinding light, you don't necessarily expect them to be so sensitive and so soft on the inside. I don't know if that's making any sense. But even if it's not, at least I'm showing you how to do makeup too. We're gonna go into this shade here. It's kind of like a green gold shift. We're just gonna go into the lower lash line here, and then I am going to go into Holtz. It's still not as bright. Like, it does add a nice gold to the inner corner, but it's still not as bright as I want. I recently got the It's Belle Cosmetics Break the Rules palette, and as you can see, there were a few shades in here that were not to my liking, so swapped them out. One of them was the shade Eager for More. I'm pretty sure that was the one that I just like, I never wear that color. I never have had any desire to wear that color. So I wanted to get rid of it. So I swapped it out for the gold from the Pat McGrath palette. I wish this inner corner was like a little brighter. I usually like my inner corners to be like a little brighter. So this is the last shade that I'm gonna add to the inner corner. This is the Pat McGrath highlighter palette, going into the fine gold shade to see if I can add like a little bit more brightness into the inner corner with how many shadows I've kind of piled into the inner corner. I'm not sure it'll do that much, but I just want to like bring a little bit more brightness. Okay, that actually is helping though. I do love this Pat McGrath highlighter palette. This is one of the first Pat McGrath products that I got. Maybe even the first Pat McGrath product that I got. And this is what like made me fall in love with the brand. I am still mad that they're not cruelty free because they should be. In my opinion, every makeup brand should be cruelty free. Animal testing is so beyond unnecessary. So that's why this palette I actually got from Poshmark. And I try to, as much as possible, get any Pat McGrath products from Poshmark for that reason, because I try to not, as much as I love the products, I try to not directly give money to the brand for that reason, because they are not certified cruelty free. I actually really like this look. I was feeling a little iffy about how dark the inner corner was, but this fine gold shade really is just really helping the whole look and bringing in that strong, bright gold color that I wanted. Next is liner and mascara. I got a question on my last video about using eyeshadow as liner, which I have in the past, but now I actually use liquid lipstick as eyeliner. I can't use pencil liner because I have very wrinkly eyelids. If I try to use a pencil liner or like a liquid, you know, the liquid little brush thing, those will like drag on the skin. I'm not really sure why it doesn't work, but it like doesn't interact with the wrinkliness of my eyelids well. And so what I use instead is this slanted brush, which I've been told, this is a Sephora brush, and I was told by the person who works at Sephora that this is, which by the way, aren't the people who work at Sephora like the nicest people? She helped me get this brush. It's the 22 brush, so like whatever the Sephora number 22 brush is, that's what this is. I find that it really works for applying eyeliner, or in my case liquid lipstick, to my line, to my lash line. I used to use the Black Moon Cosmetics shade, I believe it's called Moonwalker. It's their like matte black lipstick, but they have been sold out for months. Like I feel like for like this year they've been sold. Like they're like not restocking it. I don't know why. So instead I went to Pretty Zombie Cosmetics. That's what this is. This is Pretty Zombie Cosmetics in the shade Black Cat. And so what I do is I take the brush out, right? And then like the little sponge tip applicator thing. And then I take this eyebrow brush and I just kind of pick up, I like brush it against the lip brush thing to pick up that pigment. And then I basically, well, I'm going to use this mirror, but this is my first time. Oh my god, how am I going to do this? Okay, fuck, this is already the hardest part of my routine. Okay, so I'm kind of like going, if I successfully do this without fucking up, I'm going to give myself an award. I tend to kind of do the outside and then the inside, and then I kind of join them together. I kind of have to do it like mostly with my eye open, but sometimes I'll like try to do it with my eye closed, even though that makes it harder. Okay, now I'm not gonna fuck with it anymore. Now we're gonna try the other side. Pray for me. And it's times like these when I remind myself that in like 12 hours or whatever, usually less than 12 hours, I will be wiping it all off anyway. So, you know, you get to that point where like, it's good enough, it's cute enough, it's gonna end up washing down my bathroom sink drain later today anyway, so it's okay. Like, doesn't have to be perfect. I tend to do a little bit of like a side to side wiggle. Also, I only ever do the top lashes. I don't know how to do my bottom lashes. That's why I do like the eyeshadow on the lower lash line, is to kind of bring some dimension and color, because I don't have it in me to try to put mascara on my lower lash line, or on my lower lashes. And then we're taking this brush, which is the little, it's the brush that I use. Basically, this is the brush I use for my crease. Like whether I am smoothing out the eyeshadow that's there and kind of trying to clean it up a little bit, or whether I'm applying eyeshadow to my crease, this is the brush that I use. I know that I'm trying to like use up the Milk makeup stick, but I want to do my OG favorite highlighter, which is Black Moon Cosmetics Jellyfish. And I'm just gonna dust it on, and then we're gonna use this 100% pure powder foundation. I know that most people do their highlighter on top of their foundation, but because obviously the foundation I'm using is like a light powder, it kind of serves more as like a setting powder than like a foundation. It does even out my skin tone to some degree, but it's very lightweight, and the highlighter is obviously strong. Unless I'm going to like Pride or something, I don't want a highlighter that's like very prominent. And so I find that putting the highlighter on and then brushing the foundation on top just kind of gives my cheekbone a little bing without being like, highlighter lives here, you know? Okay, and then for lips, I think I'm just gonna go with like my sort of go-to lip look. I have the 100% pure eyeliner in dark cacao, and then I line my lips. I try to go on like the outer edge of the lip line, so it gives it like a little fullness, because I don't like to like overdraw my lips. I don't like that look. I love it on drag queens. Love it on drag queens, but not for like me just doing my makeup. I'm fortunate enough to live in a very queer city, and I've seen some really amazing drag shows and drag queens, and it's very fun. Anyway, I would love to do like a drag king thing someday. That'd be very fun. This is Glam Goth Beauty, and it's their liquid lipstick in the shade Renegade. It's a very dark brown. So I literally just like do a little swipe down here, and then a dot and a dot, and then I put it back in. And I take my finger and I basically create the base, because my lips are naturally very pink toned, and I want them to be brown toned. I want the color to be a brown toned nude, not pink. This is the only lipstick that I've found to like really be a true brown, where like it's not like a red based brown, it's not a pink based brown, it's not too cool toned, it is literally just a true brown. Then I get the Ritual de Feel shade in Eros. Like, as you can see, there's some patchiness because it's a liquid lipstick that dries fairly quickly, especially when you use just a little bit of it. So it's a thin layer, it dries quickly. And then I take Eros, it has the texture of like a lip balm, honestly, which is why I find that their pigments don't work on the eyes, because they're too oily. But for lips, they're perfect. And then usually I kind of have to do like a little bit of cleanup, but not too much. I wonder if I do have a gold gloss, just because I'm thinking like Leo, gold, you know. It's the JD Glow in the shade So What, and it's fairly orange. Normally I wouldn't buy an orange gloss, but it's called So What. I don't know if this is the intention behind the naming of the gloss, but I was like, that is basically named after a Pink song. I don't know if that's actually what it's named after, but ooh, I kind of like that. Yeah, that's kind of fun. It tastes really good. I kind of like how that like brightened it a little bit, so it's not quite so dark. But yeah, anyway, the reason I got that gloss is because it's basically named after a Pink song. And I was like, anything that's named after Pink, I have to purchase. My little inner fangirl will not let me not purchase. I didn't think that a kind of orange gold gloss would work on me, but there's been quite a few looks where I've actually worn it, so including this one. Rose water, and we just give a little spritz. There. And these, Leo is ruled by the sun, if I remember correctly, so some kind of like gold sunshiny earrings would work. So this is the completed look, and I'm quite happy with how it came out. I tend to gravitate towards some more darker goth colors. You could definitely do a Leo look that's more like bright, but because I tend to have makeup shades that are more darker and richer, that's kind of the direction I took it in. It did come out a little darker than I anticipated, but I still like it, so there we have it. And then I think I might continue this and do like a Virgo. Ooh, actually, okay, so pink is a Virgo. So I'm thinking my next look, my next tutorial video will be probably a Virgo inspired makeup look using this palette. So